Qualifying was pretty incredible just to be standing there. You know, someone did some math and said if you average every trophy truck at 350,000 and every one car at 100,000, which I'm sure yours is worth more, there's $23.5 million worth of equipment sitting over there getting ready to qualify. So it's a mind-boggling experience. For me, I qualified 31st, which is the poorest I've ever qualified for any race. Maybe I'm getting old, but I think just a couple mistakes cost me, and trying to make up for that tomorrow a little bit. Chase guys down like Justin here, and just try to have fun and be smart, because the 400 is a tough race, and qualifying is not necessarily indicative of what's going to happen in the race.
Absolutely. We were talking earlier in the restaurant about how tight the pack is. What were you saying? It was 14 seconds?
I said around 15 seconds from first to 40th place in qualifying. So it's a big gap. I mean, it's a small gap for a big amount of cars.
Yeah. And, you know, that's a testament to the amount of trick trucks that we have racing with us. We set a new record of 57 trick trucks. So that's the record by at least 11 trucks. So that's pretty immense.
Of any organization.
Of ever in history.
In history.
So, how was qualifying for you? You had a little bit better day.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It was just absolutely incredible seeing that many vehicles lined up, and the you know, just the organization of how it was all just laid out. And I really thought we were in trouble qualifying 84th off the line, and you know, it worked out that I think the 3 out of the top 5 were 82, 85, and 87 or something like that. So I don't know if the course got better or we just got faster as the day went on, but absolutely incredible. It was really cool to see at the end of the parade lap that you had trick truck guys and buggy guys both going, this is, you know, each other's course. And we all thought it sucked and they all thought it sucked. So, you know, hats off to you guys on picking which one it was.
Making it suck for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it made for an awesome qualifying field.
Good, yeah, and that was something that was different this year. We changed the qualifying, and years going forward, we're going to be changing it to keep it interesting and not give advantage to anybody from the hometown over here.
I work too much to get out and play there.
TJ, well, how's qualifying for you?
We were 70th off the line. We had a good run until about the end. Just tried for some cones, stuck in on the burn for a second. 33rd or something overall, but you know, like Cameron said, you know, back in the day we used to draw for start and still be able to win from 60, 70 off the line. So Class 1, and I mean, just the history of me being out here and running maybe 40 plus races just in that desert in the last 15 years, you know, might give me a little advantage to drive a little smarter.
Nice, nice. So Travis, you did really well for a newcomer in this class. Talk about a little bit about qualifying.
Well, it was pretty good because we drew, I think, like 67. So Bryce was able to go, my teammate kind of through Red Bull. He took off, and he was like, oh yeah, you're wide open through this bump. I'm like, there's no way you're wide open through that. Like, you gotta be going like 100 miles an hour. And right as I said that, a Class 1 buggy goes like, I mean, pirouette like 3 or 4 flips. And he's like, oh no, trophy truck, you're fine. So we held it wide open, and it was really cool. I had a lot of fun.
Nice. Well, you know, the Mint has a big, rich history, and being that started here in Las Vegas in 1967. And some years they had qualifying, some years it was a draw. How was it when you guys were running?
Well, definitely it was a draw, you know. But, I am really impressed with all the equipment and all the trophy trucks, 57. I mean, I'm really excited. And seeing out there on Fremont Street, you know, it's kind of like old times. You know, seeing all the cars and everything down the street and all the activities. And I'm so glad to see you bringing it back.
Good. We're glad to have it back. Let's talk a little bit about the history. Some of these guys were inherently involved in the history through their families, and I'll throw it back to Cameron and his family. Have been racing a long time. Your dad raced this race, right?
My dad raced this race in '71, I believe, was the first time, and he goes back with Parnelli. My dad and Parnelli raced against each other, and Norm Johnson, and some of the characters from those times. I drove my first Mint 400 in 1985. So
in what?
In a 5/1600 limited ball bug, and it's been awesome to race. I've been able to race and win in a number of different classes here. I haven't raced and won in the overall but it's been a lot of fun over the years. And just the history of it, you know, being able to see all the cars on Fremont Street again, like we used to do. When I was a kid, I mean, next to the Mistmen, the Fremont Street was probably the biggest thrill of what was going on. So it's a lot of fun to see it, the rebirth and how it's really taken off and grown into something special.
And a little bit late down there and sliding in, this is Robbie Gordon and his best friend, BJ Baldwin. Robbie, we were talking a little bit about the history.
Come on, Jesus. That's right.
We were talking a little bit about the history, Robbie. You also have a father that raced in this race. You want to tell us a little bit about growing up at this race?
So I'm lucky you throw me into the heat.
Come on, you're quick on your toes.
You know, the history of the mint, you know, it's the great North American race. I mean, it is. And, you know, we've got, we've got Baja on the other side, but in the United States, this is for sure what Matt's done with his group, for sure the biggest event in the United States for off-road racing.
And your dad raced this race before, right? There's a little bit of history there.
Yeah, my dad actually, I think Pernelli's sitting next to you. My dad raced one of the Blazers one time here, so hi Pernelli, how are you? You know, my dad's raced this race. You know, I think the crazy thing is, I remember this story, but yeah, here, I'll take that. Sorry. My father won this race, I think, in 1976. And I'm going to date myself, but I think it's 76. When he won this race, the money that he won bought him an executive motorhome. Now, unfortunately, that money was worth something then, and today we win a really good trophy. So we got to figure out how to grow this sport back to the level where it needs to be, where you know, it's $100,000, $150,000 to win this race,
Or more.
or more. And I think the things that Matt's doing with television and the corporate sponsors and all the stuff at Fremont Street gives all of us an opportunity to have corporate sponsors. And without corporate sponsors, we're not going to be able to grow the sport.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. So one of the cool things about this race is it's really more than a race. It's multiple days of activities, starting with a little parade we decided to take in the tradition from Fremont Street to the Las Vegas Strip. You know, BJ's down there, and I love picking on him. What's your favorite part of this race?
I mean, my favorite part of this race is, you know, we've been talking about history so much. The history with me and my family, I've always loved all forms of motorsports, but especially off-road racing, just because it adds another, you know, fourth or fifth dimension to, you know, the automotive performance of the vehicle. We have road racing, you know, we have corners and accelerating, and then off-road racing has jumps, and you're running on all different types of surfaces, and it's a lot more challenging, especially because of the fact that you have to make a vehicle live for several hours at a time. This was the first off-road race I ever went to. I was 7 years old, and my dad brought me down, and we were hanging out with Michael Gahn and John Gahn. They had the big parade on Fremont Street, and I got to, I'll never forget it. I remember it like it was yesterday. I got to honk the horn on the race car, which it seems so silly right now, but you know, as a 7-year-old kid, I was like, man, that is the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. And once I honked the horn on the race car, all the other race cars in the entire parade started doing their horns, and their horns was just like, you know, total mayhem. It was pretty cool. But to come back, you know, several years later, and to compete in this race, and to have the motorsports career that I've had the last 15 years, and be able to compete at this event. And you know, we've been lucky enough to win it once, and we got second in previous years. And it's really cool to have this event in my hometown, Las Vegas, and to be able to compete in front of my family home.
Nice, yeah. No, it's, you know, I think obviously it's a really cool event. It's great, especially for Las Vegas. So I'm going to throw this one over to Sal and Marcus. You guys have gotten thrown into a world. I know Sal has a little bit of experience because I saw him operate a buggy at Crandon, so it's not total chaos for him. But what do you guys think?
I mean, I don't have any experience at all. You want to know if you're saying from the first to the last car is about 15 seconds, I'm probably going to be the last car in the back sweeping up all the dust. You know what I mean? It's a great opportunity for me, and I think it's a really extreme sport. And when you look at it, you see, the big jumps. You see a lot of guys up here, and I mean, guys that are legends. But just hearing you guys talk, it's been a lot about family too. It's starting from the bottom, it's tripling all the way through the family and stuff, and that really means a lot to me. And just being part of this and just doing this and experiencing it is going to be a great thing.
Awesome, thank you. What about you, Sal? I know you're gifted with words there.
I'm actually kind of speechless, sitting up here at this table with so much history, and obviously for me, my career is not even mostly, is spent on the other side of the table, where I get to celebrate and put into context moments like these for other athletes. So to be able to get the invite to come here and have some fun and race with DeMarcus is pretty crazy. The only real difficult part for me is that I'm a die-hard Charger fan. DeMarcus signed with the devil this week. With Denver, so we're gonna put that aside, and it's just a good fun. But no, I've gotten to have some experience in the last couple of years with Red Bull and the Signature Series to get to experience off-road racing. And obviously on the short track, I got to drive the Red Bull truck at Crandon, and then they threw me into a buggy race, and I was just blown away by how organic the roots of this sport is. It's so about family, about different teams supporting each other. Even if somebody goes down and someone goes in the next pit and sees what they got to help them out, it's been really cool to be around that and develop a relationship with Bryce Menzies and some of the other drivers. And it's funny thing is that Cam and I have known each other for almost 20 years, and probably for the last 15 of it, Cameron's always been like, when are you going to just get your ass in a trophy truck already? I promise you, it'll change your life. So better late than never, boss. Yeah, welcome. I'm really stoked to be here.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna throw this one back to TJ. I mean, you're from this town, and you're kind of a success story when it comes to a racer. You worked your way up from the bottom, and now you race in the top league. What's this race mean to you?
I was fortunate to work for a guy, Butch Dean. He's been doing it since 1967. I think the first time one of his cars won the event was 1977, and it was Ralph Tiblin. And he has a car he bought with the money up, sitting in his garage still up on jacks. He never even drove it, nothing. And that's still like, you go to his house, that's one of his main pieces that he won the 400. And over the years, he's had, the success from Herbst. BJ Bowen started in that shop. So, I mean, very fortunate, and I came up through the classes and get to race Class 1 and won this race twice in a Class 1 car and a second. And then last year got the opportunity to step up to a trick truck and then, got pretty successful last year. We won the Silver State 300 and, and up in the top 5 at the end of the year and, for the first year. And I mean, I grew up with no money. I'm just a mechanic and fortunate enough to get to go racing and, have good people follow me and support me. So very fortunate, and it's a family thing. My brother, my dad are in the shop every day, and and my team is like my family, and very, very fortunate. And it's like I said, it's in our blood, or it's in we all do this because we love it. I mean, not just the cost of it; it's just outrageous. But we need corporate sponsors. We need this type of events to make us keep racing. Otherwise, there's no hope for the young guys to keep going with it. I mean, there's no one to back them unless you've got rich parents. You ain't gonna race.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people don't know how much Mr. Pastrana over here has raced cars, but I've been fortunate to spend a lot of time with him in rally, and I can tell you wholeheartedly the boy can drive. And he had recently had a career in NASCAR, and now we got him back on the dirt. You're doing rally as well, right, Travis?
Yeah, doing rally. A lot more successful on the dirt than the turn left didn't go so well for me last year, but it was a lot of fun, man. So I'm just excited. I mean, this. The Event 400 was always something that, like, my dad and I, we grew up, pretty redneck back east. We always followed, like, off-road racing as much as we could. Grew up kind of idolizing, Robbie Gordon down the end of the table and stuff. So it's, it's pretty cool to see guys like him that jump around in so many different races, the Indy 500, and then he's in NASCAR, and then this, and yeah, it's amazing. Just looking down this table right now, and it's pretty cool for me to go out there and half the people expect. I think over/unders. I think it's 20 to 1 on me not making a lap. So I think hopefully we'll be able to finish this race and should be all right. But I mean, for me, like to get to go out there, I get to race this, get to have a great time with some great people. Have really good sponsors. Red Bull really backed me in this, and Bryce, who jumped into the rally cars with us last year.
Yeah.
Now for me to jump in the trophy truck in his world, learn something from him is just going to be a lot of fun. Man. So no real pressure, but definitely like to see the checkered flag here.
Yeah.
Well, if I can step in, someone asked me, I think Matt's group just a few minutes ago, and we're stoked to have you here. I think it's great that you chose to come and race off-road. Really, really happy to have you. In fairness, all right, it's like, well, we need to put this into perspective. He's coming in and racing against the best guys that we've been doing off-road for 30 years. BJ's been doing it for, 15 now? 15. It'd be like challenging us to a backflip contest, all right? I want no part of it, and I would lose, all right? So you did really good in qualifying, impressed with your qualifying run, and wish you a lot of luck in the race. Don't get
That means a lot. Thank you.
Backflips aren't that hard.
Here we go.
Come on.
I can see a challenge.
He's got a little ranch in Annapolis, Maryland. You can go check it out at.
Yeah.
BJ.
The compound looks awesome. Like I said, fan both directions, and excited to have you.
Thank you.
Nice. And Cam, you've been around the sport, and obviously this is, we go back years. This is a brotherhood. All these guys up here, super competitive, but they also pull over for each other and help each other out. Talk a little bit about the camaraderie in off-road racing.
Well, I think it's really unique. I was fortunate enough to be a commentator at Indy in part of my other career as a television commentator, and I invited Buddy Rice to come to the Baja 1000, and he had won the Indy 500, I believe it was 2005, and so we teamed up, and I met him at the border, picked him up in the airport or whatever, and we drove down into Mexico, and first thing we did is we went to this compound of motorhomes, and I mean it's dark, you got no idea where he is, and we pull in, and there's like bonfire, there's people everywhere, and he gets out, he's like, wow, we're in the middle of nowhere, and I'm like, yeah. He's like, these guys are all your crew? I'm like, no, these are all the guys we're racing against. He's like, what? I go, yeah, this, like, right there's the Scaronis and the McMillans, and he's like, wow, we don't even talk to each other at the races sometimes, So he was blown away by the family atmosphere, and, I think that's one thing that, when you're racing on a closed circuit, no offense to anybody that races it, I mean, you can kind of rely on yourself. You're one man in one car, and your pit crew's in the pits. But when you're racing desert racing, you're off-road, you're remote, you're somewhere where your sat phone won't be serviced, or if you didn't have sat phones or radios, you had to rely on the next guy. Parnelli knows all about this, and Robbie, of course, we've been doing this a long time. And your family is the guy that's going to stop and help and tow you out, flip you back over, pull you out if you're stuck in your vehicle upside down. So that's where that atmosphere comes from, that camaraderie is. You have to rely on the guy that you're racing against. And it's a little bit different circumstance than any other form of motorsports. And I think that's what builds that camaraderie amongst us. Yeah, we all want to beat each other. I mean, maybe I don't even like BJ and Robbie because they're talking while I'm talking. But the bottom line is that those guys have to count on me and I have to count on them. And so we have to be brothers and we have to be comrades.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So, Parnelli, when you first got in a car and got talked into this in 1960 what?
63, wasn't it? 68, the first year of the race, yeah. Well, Bill Stott, I was driving stock cars for, he wanted me to do, he was running several Broncos, 2 or 3, 4 of them. And he said, how about coming and doing the Met 400? I said, no, Bill, I don't think it's my cup of tea. And so he knew how to get to me. He said, well, you're probably not man enough to do it anyway. That was like throwing a red flag. And so anyway, I showed up here, and I took off, driving way over my head. Actually, run the car right into the ground about 50 miles out. And actually, we had drum brakes at the time. And I knocked the front tires off, and then the rims got beaten up and got cauliflowered around the back in place, and they had to take a torch to cut the wheels off. But anyway, I found out I found the new love. And I enjoyed it so much that I wanted to do it again. Of course, it took me a few races to control my desire to win so much and back off a little bit. But I had a before Bill was fortunate enough to ride with me. He used to beat me on the knee and he'd say, slow down, you know, there's coyotes and snakes out here and we don't want to spend the night. So, that sort of thing. I found a love. And if you ever get that purse up to $100,000, I might make a comeback.
Nice. Well, on that note, let's open up to questions. Please keep to off-road related questions only. Anybody?
So what's the barrier? How do you get over that edge and bring into that big money?
I think we're doing it. I mean, you know, for this race to be where it's at, and you know, we've been involved with it for 3 years, and we have a 330 car count, about 50 cars on the wait list. All of you have been out on Fremont Street. You can see the thousands of people out there. And you know, on Wednesday we had our parade, and that was hundreds of thousands of people saw it. So I think we're on our way. You know, and I don't think it's going to come overnight. But
Well, I think too that if you don't mind me interjecting just a little bit, because I talk better than I race, evidently. Qualifying. But you know, the convergence of, I think, the action sports and racing community of what's happening here, just at this table, looking at, you know, the legend of Parnelli Jones, these guys that race in circles like Lofton and Travis and Robbie, and seeing the action sports stars like Travis Pastrana. And Sal and I have been around this for a long time. You know, seeing what guys like Travis created. I mean, I was there at the pier in 1999 when Travis and the boys lit off their motorcycles for the first time. And everybody that was skating or around the skate ramp, they just started running full speed over because no one had ever seen it. And I think that's what Travis and the guys that race NASCAR, and more specifically with this gentleman, with his skill set, is doing. They're bringing that attention to the sport by being here, but not just by being here. I mean, you can invite anybody and they can be like, yeah, I did. Everybody here has a genuine stoke on what we're doing, and they're all going to share that, and that's going to bring the people from their world into our world.
yeah, Sal.
Yeah, I think that, you know, for someone like DeMarcus, who obviously has big fish to fry this fall, and he's having a massive week in his career where he's had to make some big changes and will be answering lots of questions, to like bypass all that and come here and race and be a part of it, says a massive amount of it. He plays in the biggest league, sports league in America, and I think that gets eyeballs. You know, that gets people interested. That people go, well, why? Well, wow, I wouldn't really think of that. And I think for us with the Red Bull Signature Series, to be able to take an event like this that is really legendary, that people have heard about sort of through lore and story, but don't really know about. They know the history of it. They know that it goes back in the 70s and it's the longest race that's ever been in America. But to be able to see it, and the fact that we're going to be able to broadcast it for 90 minutes on NBC in primetime sports.
120 minutes.
120 minutes, excuse me, a 2-hour special. To be able to showcase that, I think that's, you know, I don't like to brag, but we're the biggest action sports program in America. And we get a lot of eyeballs from people outside of action sports. And that's why, like, when I got the call from Red Bull and they said, hey, you know, obviously you're going to be there hosting, but what do you think about being a part of the race? It was a massive opportunity because I've become a fan of these sports the last few years, and to be able to showcase that and I've had like surfers and skaters hit me up all week going, that's the coolest thing ever. Like, I wish that I could be at that race. So, you know, all these different angles that everyone's talking about of just getting eyeballs on it, I think it's a no-brainer because the sport speaks for itself. All you gotta do is watch it.
Yeah, and really on that note, just to kind of add to, you know, what the television is going to be for this race. So we have 2 hours of programming on the Red Bull Signature Series. It'll be on NBC July 6th. In addition, we'll have another 2 hours as a doc that'll be on NBC Sports shortly after that. So 4 hours of television on an off-road race is pretty immense. So, you know, scale-wise too, there really isn't a bigger platform on television than NBC. So it puts us in 140 million homes. That's never been touched, not even close in off-road before. I know the gentleman at the end here is working on it, but it's a big one. So
We're pretty stoked with our gig for this year. I mean, the amount of people that we'll get to race in front of is, you know, 750,000 people for the season is pretty good. We start hitting eyeballs.
Yeah.
And that's only going to help as a racing as well.
For those of you who don't know, Robbie runs his own short course series. And one of the cool things about it is that he's put it in front of a lot of new eyeballs, and like he was saying, we all feel in the desert community that it just brings new people to us. It's like what we refer to as the gateway drug for off-road. So.
I think the two can go hand in hand. Obviously, they're giving me a hard time about being off-road, so I guess the only time we're off-road is when we're 10 feet in the air on asphalt now. So,
Right.
you know, it should be fun. It should be good, and I think it will cross over. There'll definitely be crossover back and forth.
Yeah, absolutely. BJ, I wanted to ask you a couple more questions to kind of put you on the spot here. This is your backyard, you know, and you did win this race before, but it was on the North Course, right?
Yeah, this is kind of a sore subject.
Did you run the dirt section again?
Yeah.
Damn it.
I got a compass this time, so I'm going to be good. I had a little mishap to say the least, something you know about. But yeah, I mean, as it relates to this new course, this is my backyard. A lot of the race course is my test platform. So I know every inch of it. Obviously, I've been in Las Vegas for 30 years. I used to ride dirt bikes out on this race course. I test my truck on this race course after reassembly every single time we put 50 miles on it. TJ knows what I'm talking about. He does the same thing. He does it very well as well. But this particular race course is like, I mean, I seem to not do very well here. No matter how well I know it, I've always done really well in the middle of the race and then had some kind of mechanical issue. This particular layout is very hard on powertrain, on my truck specifically, I guess. And despite me knowing the course really, really well and not making any mistakes, I've always had some sort of bad luck here.
Yeah.
I would rather go on the north side of the course where we've won it before, where we've podiumed before. But this is a very fun course, and I'm hoping to break that bad luck spell this year and every single year after.
Well, let's continue on talking about the course. I mean, so for those of you who don't know, we're doing 100-mile laps. We do 400-mile laps in the unlimited classes, and I've been fortunate that I've traveled pretty much all over the world and seen different areas of off-roading, and this particular loop has a little bit of everything, and probably the worst, nastiest of it all. Justin, talk a little bit about our nasty little course here.
It's you know, this desert out here has been raced on for a long time, and the tires keep getting bigger, the cars keep getting heavier, the trucks keep getting heavier and faster, and by the last lap, it's probably going to be, you know, you're going to hate life for every mile of it. Just taking the beating on it, and like BJ said, holding a drivetrain in a vehicle is going to be the key, and if you can just be a little bit faster than the next guy, you're going to be the one that comes out with the win. But I think the winners are going to be, I bet the top 5 is less than a minute with everyone.
You know, if everybody had a good day, because the whole field is stacked full of really competitive guys that have won multiple championships, several very important races. I mean, you know, we got a race against Robbie and against Rob and Catherine and Bryson. You know, they all got a race against me and TJ and everybody else. So the whole field is stacked full of a lot of talented drivers that really prepare their vehicles very, very well. And on top of that, there's 55 trophy trucks. That's more than 57 trophy trucks. So even in the bottom 1,000, what was there? The bottom 1,000, it was like 33, 34 trophy trucks. 57 trophy trucks is unheard of. So there's a lot of trucks. There's a lot of competitive trucks, and everybody out here that is good at racing, at off-road racing, is here, and they want to win this race.
Absolutely.
You're going to get all those trucks going across the same loop 4 times, and it's going to get rough and it's going to get nasty. So it's going to be fun, and we'll see how it all comes out tomorrow.
Nice. Any other questions?
I just had a quick one for you, Travis. I noticed you had a cast on your leg or some kind of a brace.
That's an illusion.
Yeah, it's a fake.
Well, no, it's actually, everyone's been going with the theory of heavy right foot. I was thinking if I weighted my left foot, I'd probably have a better chance out there, so I think
No worries about that over
no, actually,
400 miles tomorrow?
Not at all. No complaints with the leg. Everything's healed up structurally. We got pins and plates, and the bones are good. It's just the ligaments. So as long as it's locked from side to side, the pounding doesn't hurt at all.
And it is the right side, like you said. So
Yeah. No worries.
This guy's immune to pain at this point.
He really is. I mean, he had some testing that we were involved with, and how long did you have your cast off before your testing?
I mean, there's
Hours?
yeah, done a lot of races with literally, you have a break. Doctors, orthopedic surgeons are great, pinned and plated. So this is good. I'm excited to be out there. I mean, this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure my back's going to be a lot more sore than my leg's going to be at the end of the run, so it should be good.
Didn't you race rally at X one year with your leg in a full cast?
I had like 40 fractures in the right ankle, but they said they were going to have to fix it anyway the next day, so we duct taped it in and put hand controls in the car.
That was the next day after he did it.
Yeah.
And hand controlled, and he looked like it looked like a cartoon. Basically.
Good times.
Nice. Any other questions?
A couple questions. One for you. I mean, as far as when you got into the Mint, when you got associated with it, is it at the potential you want it to get? Is there a lot more you want to get out of it? How do you feel about that?
That's an easy question. I think we're on the right path. No, it's not where we want it. We want to go a lot further. A lot of the people up here, actually, I've shared a history with in growing up in action sports, kind of inside of the business of it with Sal and with Cameron and even Travis. And so we've been privy to see the growth of a culture from the inside, and so we know it's possible. And so it's real simple for me. If X Games can become what it can become, and it's skateboarding and kind of what I believe is a real limited appeal as far as sports go, other than FMX, because that's just plain crazy. I think that four-wheel motorsports, it's really undeniable, and I think the product that we have as desert racing is the most exciting motorsport in the world. It was funny, somebody was trying to ask me to describe it in layman's terms of what this race is going to be like. And I said, it's actually really easy if you know what the UFC is. It'd be like the UFC taking every champion and every fighter and putting them into the ring at the same time. And that's the Mint 400.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
You should be the commentator.
I learned from
I do have another question for Parnelli. What are your thoughts on like the progression since then and from now? I mean, could you at that point did you imagine it would get to this as far as the technology and everything?
Yeah, well, they keep improving the equipment. Obviously, back in our day, the tires are so much better now. The shocks are so much better. The suspension is better. Everything, motion of the car. But the technology over the years, we didn't have those things available. And a lot of companies have come out of off-road racing. For an example, Walker Evans, for an example, has the shocks and everything else that he created when he was doing the off-road stuff. And the equipment is just phenomenal. And we were more held back by some of the equipment that we had, obviously. And we run 2 or 3 shocks on each corner, and the tires weren't nothing. And I had Firestone develop us some better tires at the time. And just wheels and everything about the cars are so much better now. And if anybody's ever not ridden in one of these off-road trucks across the terrain, I'm telling you, they're unbelievable. You could not believe what they're capable of.
Cool, thank you, man.
Yep. Any other questions?
One more, kind of a follow-up to that. Matt, this race has such a rich history, and early on, motorcycles were a big part of that. Could you ever envision, as you're developing this Mint 400, maybe bringing motorcycles back to it? I know I want you to weigh in on it, and you as well, Travis, because I think this event would have the potential to draw every top off-road motorcycle racer in the world to Las Vegas.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, motorcycles are an important part of off-road culture. I mean, a lot of these guys, have come from motorcycle racing and then gone into four-wheel racing, and it's kind of a unknown or a known thing that, the motorcycle racers end up being the best drivers because of their ability to read terrain at a rate that's incredible. So yes, we definitely like to bring motorcycles back and have that be a part of it. And even beyond that, our view of off-road is that everything off-road is connected. And again, I spent a lot of time with Travis and Rally, and we love that. And we'd love that to be, potentially a part of of this race as well. You know, I have a good friend that has this little race called King of the Hammers, and I think that's a really cool event, and you know, we'd love for that to be involved as well. Long term, our vision is to develop it into something like, you know, Daytona Speed Weeks, and you know, have it go for 7 days or 10 days and just absolutely take over. And that's going to take some time, you know. Again, going back to some of the history of it that I've spent with some of the people up here, you know, we were at X Games 1, and I can tell you from the inside it was a disaster, but it worked. And as over the years, they developed a very viable product, and I believe that we can too. You guys want to weigh in on the motorcycle stuff?
You know, I like.
Only thing I'd say about the motorcycle stuff is I love off-road racing. I love to be off-road. I love to be motorcycles, cars, anything. One of my biggest problems that I have getting on the dirt bike, and I hate to say it like that, but we're too far from hospitals. Here, it sounds really negative, but I mean, as someone that now I have a wife, I have a kid. A lot of times you don't get hit that hard, but you might have something internal, like, you know, heaven forbid, like being this close to Las Vegas in the States. Like, I would love to race the off-road on a motorcycle here. I would have no worries doing it here, where sometimes, you know, down at the bottom of the peninsula of, you know, Baja, I'm not sure that I will be able to get that attention now, not just looking at me, but looking at the family as well. So I think there's probably some other guys that are getting older, I hate to say it, but they're maybe in a similar situation that I am there.
Yeah. Well, that's true in Baja too, and with the cars, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to race dirt bikes here. I still race dirt bikes and some hard enduro stuff, and you know, if it would, the opportunity presented itself, like Travis said, I mean, this would be a great place for off-road motorcycling. And a lot of people don't know this, but there's a lot of great single track and different trails out there besides what we're doing in the cars. So, you know, if I had my vote, I would say let's race bikes on a different day on a different track and do some stuff that's more hard enduro and bring the best riders in the world here. And I'm sure that, you know, in talking to Matt, you know, I probably have a little bit of insight, but I see his vision of the week-long, you know, extravaganza, so to speak, where we have UTVs on one day or motorcycles on another day, and you know, trick truck and class 1 qualifying.
Class 10 on a different day?
Yeah, well, you know, maybe. But I see it. I see the value of it, and I see the community supporting it. You know, heck, we could even bring Robbie's trucks out and race them right downtown. We could do that for qualifying, right, Rob? Right?
We've done it once, we can do it again.
Yeah, you know, what the heck. Let's bring them all out and go for it. But I'm a big proponent of the dirt bikes. I think that bringing the dirt bikes would bring a lot more of our community together. And I think it would be a huge embrace from everybody. Cars, and everybody would be stoked.
Yeah, Robbie, you have something else for that?
Well, I was going to say something that was quite ironic when I was listening to Pernelli talk. You know, I like to claim that I had the first trophy truck, but the reality is Pernelli's Blazers were the first trophy trucks. And I don't know if people realize this, but probably my career is Pernelli's fault. When I was BJ's kid's age, 6 years old, 5, 6 years old, I was fortunate enough, my dad worked a deal with Pernelli on the Blazers through BF Goodrich, and they changed hands, but they were prepped there at his facility for, I think it was about a year and a half, something like that. But this guy had Danny and Geis' drag car there, he had Indy cars there, there was NASCARs there, he had everything that eventually my career ended up doing was at his shop. So I say my career is Pernelli's fault. And when I was a kid, I used to love engines and all the stuff. And I remember I still got a huge scar on my left middle finger because there was a tool that he had in his shop that was just the most amazing tool that I ever heard. It was called a diagram. And it would make the IndyCar sound. It was so cool. And I'd sit and play this diagram. And they always told me, that thing gets away from you, it's going to hurt you. And it got away from me and sliced my finger where I probably needed a good 30 or 40 stitches. But I never told anybody because I knew I'd never get to go back to the shop. So, Pernelli, it's your fault.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one. This, I guess, goes to everybody. What about tomorrow? What are you guys' feelings? How do you foresee the whole event going down with so many vehicles out there in your class?
Where do I start?
How do I see it going down? I mean, I think that it's going to be pretty amazing to see all those unlimited vehicles, but also all the people in the morning too. I mean, Marcus and Sal will be out there first thing in the morning, and
I'm 6 a.m. I'm the first one. So
I'm actually going.
I got 20 minutes in the dark for my first 100 miles.
So what do you think, Sal? You ready
Well,
for
I'm
something
gonna cause some
there?
problems, so
I'm tripping out.
I think it's gonna be really cool. We're gonna give Sal some good information. But I think they should hold that #1 spot open, and Bryce and me should go for it.
Oh, look at that. That could be a penalty, huh?
That's a cone.
That's a cone. That's a cone.
So I think,
There may
I
be
think they
some-
should leave that spot open, and we should have a heads up Bryce and into the first quarter.
I think it's fine. I think we should let it slide.
Oh, sorry. You guys might like to see that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good picture.
What I love is that
Is that photoshopped or?
nobody is remotely competitive.
Not at all.
Not at all.
They're a witness.
BJ, what's your plan for the start for the race tomorrow?
You know what? Being that I have a history of not doing well in Prim, you know, I've had a bunch of races in Prim, you know, that I've led for several hours, and something stupid happened. So I'm just going to do the best I can. I want so badly to win the Mint 400 again for my family, for my friends, for everybody that follows me here in Las Vegas, my hometown Las Vegas. So I'm extremely passionate about doing well here. So
This is gonna be real. At the end of the day, when you have a lot of cars, and what you guys are really trying to do, you're trying to bring a big crowd to see what you guys in this gym that has been held from 1970 to 60. I heard some numbers that are unheard of, but I haven't even seen it before. And I had an opportunity now to even just walk out there on the strip and see the cars, and I'm talking about my heart started racing. I got pumped. So I see you guys trying to bring that heat out to the world and let everybody else feel that, so you can bring everything else in. So I'll be ready for it.
All right, game. Kim?
My game plan is to try to be smart, but it's never easy to be smart when you're inside the trophy truck. So just try to not stop during the day. It's kind of part of my strategy. Just keep cruising along. We have I chose the truck that has the larger fuel cell out of the 2 trucks. I'm actually racing our older truck, which we won a race here last year, and not the Mint 400. But I love that truck, and she was built originally in 2001, so she's got some years on parts of her. At least one tube is still original from 2001. But just looking forward to as little stopping as possible, and just a clean race.
Nice, Justin.
Just, you know, the biggest thing is running a unlimited buggy is keeping the drivetrain in and keeping the CVs under you, and you know those holes are going to get really big, so finding a way around them, and you know, trying to go up. And I want to catch these. Well, at least that guy right there at the end. I would love to go up and push him a little bit down the track, but if I stay, I'm up there with the fast guys, and you know, the pace is going to be really good for us to you know, stay in contention over all the race, and the biggest thing is not having any issues and make it to the finish line.
Yeah, great. Travis?
Well, for me, I don't have the experience or the speed to. There's so many great drivers. They're all going to go like hell. I don't care what they all say. And one of them's going to make it. One of them's not going to have many problems, or at least fewer problems than the other. So for me, I want to get as much seat time as possible. I want to have fun all day long. I want to be so damn sore on Sunday that I sit and do not get out of my bed all day long. And that's my goal, just to finish this race and finish with a big smile on my face.
Nice. TJ?
I just want to, since qualifying, we got 33rd or something like that. Just want to be the sleeper. Just you know, let the guys that are up in front of me that are a little more inexperienced, you know, knock their tires off and run the gaps. You know, the front guys are racing and forget about me back there, and all of a sudden creep up at the end and, you know, take the win. That's the goal. That's the mindset. And I mean, that's coming from the buggies, having to follow all the trucks. You kind of used to driving in the dust, so you know, got a little more experience than some of these guys in the dust. Maybe with that, you know, those big dust slugs or truck slugs, whatever I call them. We were buggy dorks back in the day with Justin racing, you know, fast, and you know, just very thankful to be able to come race this race, and you know, great opportunities I've ever had.
Awesome. Well, we don't have to ask Robbie what his game plan is, because it's usually to drive so fast that everybody else brakes while they're trying to chase him down. Right? That's pretty much it?
Well, now that I got this photo, I think, you know, it should be beat Bryce to turn 1.
Right?
And then cruise.
Right? Nice. Well, there we go. Any other questions?
No. Sal, it's for you. Last year, Patrick Dempsey ran the 01 car. He's a guy with a legitimate race career. Do you think he could take his time out?
Well, he's like Le Mans, like super.
Right, so he's not an off-road guy, but he did pretty well, so what do you think your chances are?
Look, I consider myself to be a pretty decent driver in a few different venues, but I'm also not going to kid myself. Like, this is heavy.
Sure.
So for me, like I said, I just want to finish and be respectful. Not to mention, Ryan at Odyssey's like, if you break it, you buy it.
You don't want a car?
Yeah, right. That's a really great way to get in.
LA on the street?
Exactly. I could drive that thing through Venice.
Marcus can loan you some.
I think so. But that's that. Again, that's money from the devil. It's that Denver money. So, but no, honestly, I just want to go out there and have fun. I'm a really competitive person, but you know, for me, the first 50 miles are going to be getting acquainted with the truck and the terrain. So I'm going to take my time and try not to. We did a tire changing drill yesterday, and I don't want to do it in real life. That's my goal.
Who's driving first?
I'm driving first.
You and him tight, you guys good?
Better be.
Well, any other questions?
Marcus, this is unfamiliar territory for you. Does this intimidate you at all?
You know, I mean, going into a new realm, and you're in there with the big boys, if you want to put it that way. It's not something that you can take lightly. These guys are they're professional, and I mean, a little bit shaky, a little bit. You know, it's just the way it goes. I feel like when I put my pedal to the metal, I'll be all right. It's almost like taking that hit. You get somebody first, and the little jitters are going out of the way, and you can just cruise on to the sunset.
Hey, since it's Vegas and all, and you guys got any interesting bets on who's going to take this thing?
Oh yeah. That's a good one. There was betting on this back in the day, right?
Yeah, there was back in
Yeah.
the early days, I know there was. Probably still are.
We need to find a book that can do that for us. You know what? This is such a hard one to choose because you know, again with the lap race and the stacked field, there's 30 guys out there that can win this. You know, and even with that being said, you know, my comparison earlier to this is like MMA. You know, we have races all the time where all the top guys break, and you know, some guy you've never heard of shows up at the finish line and it's his day. So you really truly can't ever tell what's going to happen, you know, in a race like this. So you know,
Like the knockout punch.
yeah, that's right. That's right. You know, it's a hard one. Anybody else want to take bets?
Or does anybody want to call it? We got some talent on here, and we want to Babe Ruth it. No takers.
No jinxing.
I'm gonna say, we didn't get to finish second.
Yeah.
And if we didn't put the good enough prep job on it to win, we wouldn't be here. The problem is if you have one flat tire these days with this many cars, you could lose. The competition is that tough. So, you know, we talked about, you know, what parts are we going to bring for spares? And I told the guys, just keep the spares in the coolers because if we got to work on it, we lost.
Yeah.
That'd be a beer.
Yep, absolutely. So
I'm here to win and go home. That's it. Put it on a trailer for second.
Well, if there's no more questions, we'll conclude. Thank you for coming to the 2014 Mid 400 press conference. I appreciate everything.
Thank you.